Trickle Down Economics. You've probably heard the term before, and if you have, it probably came from someone like Rachel Maddow or Paul Krugman. Well, I'm here to tell you that it doesn't really actually exist. It only exists in the mind of those who think they know a lot about economics, and they try and criticize people who are in favor of free market economics. They generally try and explain it as, well, people who are in favor of free market economics, they just want to give tax cuts to the rich, and voila, they've just created a panacea for all of the economy and all of society and have solved all the problems. Now, is it true that people who advocate for free market economics want tax cuts for the rich? Yeah, but there's one big thing missing there. It's also tax cuts for everybody else. I would never say that, hey, you know what, you can raise taxes on the middle class, upper middle class, lower class, poor people. Raise taxes on all of them. But if you cut taxes for the rich, then everything's going to work out just fine. I've never heard anyone who advocates for the free market ever advocate for something like that. And it's quite frustrating when you hear people like Rachel Maddow or Paul Krugman talk about it like that. I am a huge fan of economics. I read about it all the time, and of all the articles and books I've ever read, I've never actually seen a chapter written on Trickle Down Economics. I've never seen a chapter named Trickle Down Economics. This is an archaic term that the Rachel Maddows and Paul Krugmans of the world like to throw around, and when they throw it around, they like to act as if they've said something brilliant, but in truth, they've said absolutely nothing at all. In fact, all they've done is shown their economic ignorance. You know, and if you want to talk about trickling down within the economy, the people who generally will throw around the term trickle down economics to criticize people who are in favor of free markets, if you're talking to somebody like that, you'll generally find that they don't really want to talk about the Federal Reserve. They don't want to talk about TARP or bailouts to big banks and big companies and industries, which that's the real trickle down. That's the real, hey, let's just screw everybody else and give a bunch of stuff for free to the rich. Or how about talking about the interest rates from the Federal Reserve? Federal Reserve keeps interest rates near 0%. This basically means that you make nothing on your savings account, so you have to put your money into the stock market in order to see any sort of return whatsoever. This artificially boosts the prices of all the stocks, and guess who benefits greatly from that? You guessed it, the unbelievably rich among us, the people who own the vast majority of stocks. They get filthy rich, you see a little bit of a return, and when that bubble eventually pops, which it will, because as I said before, it's artificial, when that bubble pops, now you're totally out of luck. All your money's down the drain. As I said before, trickle-down theory of economics, it's just a pathetic attempt at using a buzzword to try and criticize people who advocate for the free market. Certainly no economist who does favor the free market ever talks about the trickle-down theory being the be-all, end-all of economic policy. I've never heard it. I've never heard that economist say that if we just have the trickle-down theory put into place, everything will work out fine. There's about 10,001 other things that we have to do along with cutting taxes for the rich. It doesn't end there. It has to be cutting taxes for the rich, the middle class, the poor, and the destitute. It has to be that. Otherwise, you're going to do nothing. Alright, so that's it for this video. I really appreciate you watching. As always, please like, subscribe, share, comment, all that good stuff if you liked what you heard. And that's it for me tonight. Have a good one.